change it back. If the seal's broken, obviously, you will be disqualified. They also check the whole of the airbox system for any leaks that you could have that would obviously let air in that wasn't supposed to be there.
In fact, the enforcement of the rules has hurt TVR more than most because of the lack of T400R versions as road models, which is a part of the equivalency equation. And so, to practice itself. Qualifying for Le Mans happens over 2 days, the Wednesday and Thursday of each race week, in 4 sessions, one in the afternoon and one by dark. Each driver has to complete a certain number of laps, and each driver has to set times both in the light and in the dark. Now, given the very long lap at Le Mans, 13.5 kilometres, which for the quick cars is around 3 minutes 40 seconds, and for the GT cars is over 4 minutes, that means you really have to be on the programme from very early on Wednesday afternoon to make sure you fulfil all the organisers' requirements, as well as getting in the sort of testing you want to get in, and the fuel economy testing, and trying various little tricks to see if you can get your car to go quicker than it had in the test weekend at the beginning of May. As you see, the experienced teams, the front-running teams, are immediately on the pace. JJ Leto there in the champion Audi going very quickly, as was the number 8 Bentley. But as Johnny Herbert, sharing with David Brabham and Mark Blundell, told us, not exactly all to plan.
It's not really to our liking at the moment. We've sort of improved it a little bit from last month in certain areas, but we've unfortunately made it a little bit worse in others. So David's just had a go. We feel the same about the car, so now we just need to just work on it a little bit more. Really, we need to get a proper race set up where we actually feel confident and happy with it, and then we can progress after that.
Also immediately on the pace was the Audi UK entry, Perry McCarthy, fit as we know, flinging his car through the S's. He was in fact a little bit slower than Frank Biela, his teammate, and they'll be sharing with ex-Grand Prix driver Mika Salo. The champion racing car here with Emanuele Pirro at the wheel, very quick straight away. And young Leuenberger, the Swiss driver, only 22 years old, first time out at Le Mans in the number 12 Panoz. Also steadily improving throughout practice, the bioethanol-fueled Reynard Nasamax car. O2 Empower and Aztec have supplied the special technologies and Cosworth the engine. The car was already turning heads. Just behind the Bentleys and the Audis lay 2 Judd-powered cars, the Courage Works car and the number 15 Lammers Dome. And a quick shot on board here with Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Courage with the Pescarolo Peugeot engine. And what does team boss Henri Pescarolo, himself a 3-time winner, think of their chances in the race?
It could be interesting because there will be a big battle between the 3 private Audis and between Audis and Bentley. And behind we are not too bad, so the only thing we have to do is to be reliable, to do not do any mistakes, and that's all.
And that's all is more, however, difficult than you might at first think. In fact, the Peugeot engines did look as though they weren't quite able to hold with the Judd engine cars, and certainly were nowhere near the Audis and the Bentleys. Very quick in the 675 class was the number 26 DBA Zytek. This is very much John Nielsen, team manager, owner and driver's project, and he's joined in the car by young Casper Elgaard. In the GTS class, Peter Cox, Thomas Engo and Jamie Davis are very quickly down to good times, whilst in the number 80 car, Darren Turner, Kelvin Burt and Anthony Davidson are down to share together. And certainly Turner didn't notice that this Ferrari may be down on power compared to last year.
Oh, I'm quite lucky because I've only driven it since the restrictions have been put in place, so it feels great to me. But everyone was saying last year it was ballistic down the straight, and we're about 10, 12 kilometres slower, but I mean, it still feels quick enough to me.
The GTS class front-running Ferraris and Corvettes are indeed so quick that they're quicker in a straight line than most of the small prototypes, like this Lola MG, entered by John Field's team from the United States. And certainly a number of the 900 prototypes. In the GT class, Kevin Buckler's car, number 81.
It's going to be a close race, I'll tell you what. The other two of the other Porsche teams here, actually 3 of them are going to be super competitive. There's several others that are going to be real strong as well. I think some of us are kind of wondering if the Ferraris aren't sandbagging a little bit. If they are, you know, good poker move for them, we'll see. They've got a really strong driver lineup and a good team of guys. So I think it's a wide open battle, honestly, between, you know, half a dozen cars.
And we mustn't forget, in the GT class, it's not just Porsche and Ferrari, it's also those TVRs and the Spiker from Holland, as well as one 550 Ferrari prepared to a different set of rules. But that is a dramatic moment for the Riley and Scott there. Now that's Christophe Tinso having a difficult moment, smacking the barriers. He's got to go back and explain himself. No problems, however, for Jan Lammers' teammates in the Dome Judds. Now in the second session on Wednesday evening, as dark begins to fall, that's generally the coolest time of the day with the best vision, and that's the time to really press for a quick lap. 1 or 2 problems for the Team Go Audi Japan car. Marco Werner sitting patiently at the wheel. And the Bentley sets off for another attempt. This is likely to be Christensen's quick lap. Minor settings changes continue on the number 8 car. Johnny Herbert still a little unhappy with the handling, but no such problem for Tom Christensen in the number 7 car, who set a remarkable lap time of 3 minutes 32.843. That was pole, and the first non-Bentley was Frank Biela in the Audi. And so on to Thursday afternoon. It was already hotter, and the feeling was that Wednesday's times might well stand for the grid. The Ferraris continued their dominance of the GTS times, both considerably quicker than the Corvettes. In fact, on the Wednesday evening, Peter Cox had done a 3 minute 53.2, and that was a lot quicker than the Corvettes, who, under pressure, were beginning to make mistakes. But then, ominously, Thursday afternoon's session was red flagged, and the most concerned faces were in the Lister pit. Their LMP 900 prototype, being driven by Jamie Campbell-Walter, had had a very heavy accident.
Oh, unfortunately, was just going on the new section down towards the S's, and there's a nasty bump where the Bugatti circuit peels off to the right, and unfortunately the car kicked out, the rear kicked out to the left, and I was a passenger after that.
Jamie Campbell-Walter may have hoped that the car could be repaired, but in fact the damage was too bad to the tub, and with a shortage of spare parts for this very new car, the Lister was withdrawn completely. Consistently quick throughout the 2 days of practice was the evergreen Jan Lammers.
The car doesn't know what age I am, the car doesn't know who's driving it, so if Schumacher brakes at 50 meters or I brake at 50 meters, the car doesn't know. So it's just in the mind, you know. Some people at 30, they start talking like they're 50. So I just try to keep an open mind, and in combination with experience, that can be a powerful tool.
But however hard the rest of the competition tried, no one was going to come near the 2 Bentleys. And in the Bentley team, the competition was very much won by Tom Christensen, who was sharing with Capello and Smith.
So obviously, I have been the qualifying driver for the past years. I've not been able to do the pole yet, so I really hope that this will stand. And because I've done everything possible. The guy who had nicked my 2 poles the other years, I put his in my car, so that helps me.
Tom's references to the fact that during his Audi years with Capello, Capello won pole position on a number of occasions, but this time Dindo was just asked to do some endurance running while Tom went for pole. So overall the Bentleys by far quicker than anybody else, but the Audis fastest in LMP 900 from the Dome Judd in 6.75, the DBA chased by the Lola MG, in GTS Ferrari in front of Corvette, and in GT, the number 93 Porsche in front of the number 81 car. practice over, Friday is intended to be a day of